This is the one move the Miami Heat can make that can land them back in the NBA Finals. We might be asking ourselves, what is that one move? What is that one thing? And a lot of people that has been watching this channel, you know I've spoke really positively on the Miami Heat because it is a lot of things that they do well, including their team defense. Now, it is a piece that the Miami Heat has been desperately needing for a couple years now, that they've been trying to search for. I do believe that it is one player that's in the market that's actually would be great for their team because of how different he is from the system they currently have. And I believe that the player that would best be suited for the Miami Heat, and it might be a lot of controversy behind this name, I believe that Trae Young would be the one player that would move the needle and get the Miami Heat back to the NBA Finals. Y'all know how I feel about Trae Young, right? I've said a lot of harsh criticism about him because I just didn't feel like he was on the same level as Luka Doncic. But when I take bias aside and I look at it from a fan of the game and someone who really like watching basketball games, I realized that Trae Young is one of the better point guards in the NBA. He's one of the more dynamic players in the NBA with his ability to not only score, but pass the ball. Now, Miami is a good team. They're a really great defensive team. They can get some shots, but one thing that they lack is offensive sets because Jimmy Butler can score. But let's be honest, Jimmy Butler has had situations where he is not prioritizing offense. And when those games happen, they look for someone who's going to be a bucket, and they don't necessarily have one on the Miami Heat, in my personal opinion. Now, when you plug in Trae Young to the Miami Heat and you factor in their culture, their energy, their hustle, their spirit, their guts, that creates a tiger, a lion in Trae Young, who's already shown you that when he goes into arenas, he wants to be the villain. Honestly, if you make Trae Young the villain, he's going to make you pay 20 times out of 10. And we seen that when he played against New York. They sat there and disrespected that boy, and he said, all right, I'll show you the only way I can. And I do believe Trae Young on the Miami Heat would actually be perfect. One of the best teams he could be on, because when you look at this market right now, it is kind of bad when it comes to wanting a point guard when so many other teams essentially has that spot filled. And especially when we seen what DeJounte Murray went for in a trade package, you kind of realize that the market for point guards is at an all-time low. And this is one of the biggest reasons why I do believe that this is the greatest opportunity for the Miami Heat to actually strike and get Trae Young, because we've seen them be so timid when it comes to landing on that player. We've seen it with Bradley Beal. We've seen it with the rumors of them getting KD. We've seen it with Damian Lillard. Right now, they have to cash in, and Trae Young is the player to cash in on, because when you still have Jimmy Butler, when you still have Bam Bam, when you still have your pieces and you still have Spo as that coach, you can afford to acquire Trae Young, because Trae Young is going to make your bet land. He's going to make sure that you are a competitive team, because the one thing you lack, Trae Young is the greatest at doing it. And the one thing Trae Young is not really good at, Miami Heat is known for putting pressure on all 29 teams in the NBA. You getting what I'm saying? And this is why I do believe, and I'm gonna be honest, right? Because in the comments, you might kill me, you might crucify me, maybe you on my side. But I do believe that the Miami Heat must make this trade, because if they land him, this is a totally different conversation of who's the best team in the Eastern Conference.